Hello, I'm Matthew Hewson from the Lomas Center, and today we'll be looking at the model 1855 Springfield rifle musket. The Springfield rifle musket is another unique item in our collection, and it is the exemplification of a shift in technology that occurred just prior to the American Civil War. For the first half of the 19th century, U.S. troops were carrying smoothbore muskets that had not really changed very much since the nation's founding and during the Revolutionary War. The Model 1816 smoothbore musket would not have looked out of place at all in the hands of a Continental soldier during the American Revolution. The Model 1835 smoothbore musket was really an update of the Model 1816, and the subsequent changes made to that model became the Model 1842 smoothbore. So in reality, these three muskets that carried us into the 1850s were really an evolution of the same exact flintlock smoothbore musket, and not much had changed. The major change between the 1835 and 1842 smoothbores were that interchangeable parts had been introduced. The 1835 model smoothbore had attempted at parts interchangeability, but it fell short. And so the true musket of U.S. production that had interchangeable parts would become the Model 1842 smoothbore. The 1842 smoothbore would also incorporate the new percussion lock system and would be the end of the flintlock era for American military firearms being issued. These three evolutionary weapons of basically the same design would finally see an update in the Model 1855, and a number of changes had occurred with this weapon. A change in ammunition technology allowed for the 1855 musket to be a rifled musket and to be issued to the entire military. It'd be the first rifle musket to be issued in the American Army. The development that allowed this was a discovery by a French Army captain named Claude Minier. He found a solution to the round spherical shot issue, and that was what was leading to the longer loading times for rifling, as that round lead shot had to engage the rifling of the weapon. He discovered that if you created a lead shot that was conical in shape and had a depression in the back of it, the diameter could be slightly smaller than the diameter of the barrel and the rifling. This would allow the projectile to fall all the way to the bottom of the weapon, increasing the speed of loading. The depression in the back of the back of the conical shot would allow for gases from the burning powder to expand that soft lead and engage the rifling. So you still have the benefit of the rifling, giving you good accuracy, but you also have an increased rate of fire, just like the smoothbore, because now that projectile doesn't have to be forcefully put down the barrel. It goes most of the way, and then your ramrod simply seats the round against the charge. So this development in ammunition technology allowed for the Model 1855 to become the first generally issued rifle musket in the United States military. These rifles would be produced both at Harper's Ferry and at the Springfield Armory, both national armories. The 1855 also incorporated a number of new technological advances in priming technology. It was already a common issued item to have a percussion lock as opposed to a flint lock. However, they were again concerned with the speed and rate of fire. So if you could increase the speed in the time it takes to prime the weapon, you could also increase your volume of fire. The Model 1855 incorporates what would be known as the Maynard priming system. The system was created by Dr. Edward Maynard, who was a dentist and had an interest in firearms. He embedded tiny pellets of priming material in thin strips of paper or metal, and they were glued together, just like a cap gun. And so this roll of paper would be loaded into the lock of the 1855, and every time you would pull the weapon's hammer back, it would place a part of the strip with the priming material over the priming cone, and would allow for that weapon to be basically automatically primed every time you pull the hammer back. In theory, the Maynard priming system should have been a huge success. However, due to manufacturing processes, the intricacy of the priming system, and the mechanism that advanced the priming tape, this weapon did not see a lot of success with the priming system designed by Dr. Maynard. The Model 1855 rifle musket that we have in our collection at the Lomas Center is an example of the first type of Model 1855 rifle muskets produced and issued, and it provides a detailed look at the Maynard tape priming system, which eventually would be a failed system, but was an attempt at increasing rate of fire based on priming time. The example has many other elements to it that would later carry on into subsequent issues of the Springfield rifle. And this weapon is unique also because it bears the name of the gentleman that carried the weapon. This was a common practice to mark your weapon because if everyone is issued the same type of weapon, there's no way to define it. These weapons did not have serial numbers during the American Civil War. And so putting your name on the stock, like we have on our example, was a great way to quickly identify which weapon was yours in a stack of arms. In addition to being the first rifle musket issued, this was also a common weapon at the early part of the American Civil War, and it would see use in the first year of the war and would later be replaced by subsequent examples of the Springfield rifle. I'm Matthew Hewson from the Lomas Center, and we appreciate you taking some time looking at the Model 1855 Springfield rifle musket with us today. We look forward to chatting with you again.